I've submitted this message to YouTube in response to three copyright strikes against me by Vegas Matt and his team of money-grabbing, selfish, dangerous jerks. Um, it's extraordinary to me that he would take the time, or that anybody on his staff would take the time to do something like this, especially against videos which are ancient. One of them dating all the way back to 2024. But hey, it seems to me an indication of a very thin skin and a somewhat small mind. But hey, YouTube is happy to accommodate someone like him because he has a vast audience, 1.5 million now, I think, and is generating an enormous amount of revenue for Google and for YouTube. So that's how it is. But anyway, this is the response that I supplied to Google as a result of these copyright strikes, which of course could shut down the channel if they're supported by YouTube. But right now we're just in the bot stage. No human beings are involved, and I think hopefully a human being will take a look at this and see that there's really not a problem. It was just fair use. I mean, Vegas Matt bets like a prat. All of his guys do. They pretend that they're serious gamblers, but they're not, because they just throw money away without any consideration for what effect that might have on their viewers. It's a massive con trick, but something, of course, that Matt has been involved in for years, long before he got into the gambling game, or the gambling in the spotlight game. So there you have it. Okay, then, so here's where we stand with sessions since the 4th of November. That's the last 30 sessions. 2 of them out of 30 proved to be really nasty, and we had to flee to blackjack, where the higher table limit allowed me to achieve turnaround, and it came reasonably quickly in both cases, and with in one case a very large turnaround profit, because the big win was a huge double down, which obviously caused me to be a little bit anxious, but it resulted in a huge win, and all of that is covered in the worksheet that I've been working on now for the last, what is it? It's now 191 shoes, I think. So it's going back a bit. And I still hear from people who say things like, the amount of money that you recommend putting at risk is way too high. It's ridiculous. It's crazy. Nobody can do that, etc., etc., etc. And all I can ever say to those people is, look, do things your way if you're winning. If you've got a better way of doing things than this, then please, I certainly would not expect you to switch to the way I do things if your way is better, safer, etc., etc., etc. And quite honestly, betting randomly, betting flat, betting with a very tight spread from your minimum to your max absolutely cannot work. But that doesn't stop people saying that it can, and then announcing that they've got a strategy which is so brilliant, they're going to start selling it to other gamblers out there, so that they can get rich quick too for a small fee. I have never offered pattern betting or any of its other disguises. Basically, it was called turnaround at first for a few years, because that's what it was all about. Then target, because again, target is what you're looking for. You've got to keep focused on a single target and make sure that you recover it, and then you drop back to the minimum bet and so on. And then I renamed it pattern betting, which is what I wanted to name it when I first started the blog, but there was somebody else peddling a strategy called pattern betting, which was nothing like what I was recommending. But anyway, I've got a noise going on that I have to attend to, so I'm going to pause for a few moments. Oh dear. Bit of a long break there. Sometimes it's just not possible to fit everything into any given day. Anyway, just a reminder, two big losses, 28 decent sized wins in these various sessions, dating back now, what is it? It's 2 months, isn't it, really? So let's play Baccarat, as some people call it on YouTube. I think they do it out of defiance, just to show they're not intimidated, right? Yeah, if you can find a way to beat this game, just betting a narrow spread and I don't know, I don't get it, but it's out there. I guess I'm just not as smart as I thought I was. Okay, that's a rerun. Okay, and you double like that, you repeat rather, simply because if the bet is less than 100, then I won't accept less than 75 or 3 units as the profit at turnaround. And if the bet is 100 or more, then I won't accept less than 4 units. That's how it goes. That's the rule. Double for the tie, and that only occurs when the bet is 100 or less. That's a +1. And that's a 1-2. Good going. All right, back to the min. Double for the loss. 1-2. Back to the min. Very important to go back to the min. Another +1. 1-2. The reason it's 1-2 is that 75 is rounded up to 100. And then you need to bet 2 to recover the 100 and make the requisite profit on turnaround. 1-2. There we are. Back to the min. Never ever forget that. I watch these guys on YouTube, these professional losers, and they just keep hammering until finally they get murdered. Okay, we're creeping up nicely. We're only 5 minutes in, a little over 5 minutes. +1. 51. Repeat. And go. +1. We're obviously ahead on wins to losses right now. Double for the tie. Plus max. My preference is not to go above 5 units on a winning streak. You can do what you want. Don't double down these. Well, you can if you want. All right. So we're going to chase that now. And if we lose it, we're going to be cross. There we go. +51. Repeat. Minimum. Okay, we're coming up to 7 minutes and we got 1,200 in the session balance. That's not too bad. Oh no! Why did I bet 100? That was a dumb move. I was supposed to bet the minimum there. Sorry. All right, well, mistake. Didn't hurt too badly. Obviously, I couldn't fall back to 25 after that. +1. 51. 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. The only time that you'll be doubling, you'll be more than doubling, unless, of course, you're rounding up to a new unit value. Oh no! 5, 6. There we go. Back to 1. Back to the 1 unit. Plus 1. Plus another 1. Plus another 1. One, 2. Bugger. 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh dear. 7, 8. This is terrible news. 7, 8. 15, 8. Okay, we'll go over to the bank. Because you see, we're not in the danger zone here because of all those wins. So 15, 8 over here. And I think I'm going to run away. I don't think I like this shoe anymore. Okay, 23, 8. So now we're going to be running away from this one. And the bet will be 5, 6 in 500s. And never ever bet, or this is what I'm recommending, never ever place the first bet in a new shoe on Banker. Banker is a pain in the ass. Yeah, all of these, all the results that I put up, with the Excel analysis and so on, every single one of those sessions is completely covered in video. And I put up most of them, but I can't put them all up because I play too many of them. And it's a lot easier to play them than to edit them, I'll tell you that much. Come on, then. Okay, so we're in 500s now. That's our unit. And we're going 5, 6. Oops! 11, 12. So we're going to call that 6, 6 in thousands. Damn it. 12, 12. Well, let's come out and call it 12, 13. Because we want a decent turnaround. No. Okay. This isn't a nice shoe, is it? 25. So we're going to go 30. No. It was 12, 13. So 25, 30 on the bank. And if we don't make it, we'll run away. We're coming close to the max, actually. There it is. No, it isn't, of course, because we switched to the bank. Oops! 25, 30. Okay, so we're going to run away from this one. That's just horrible. In fact, I'm going to have to go to blackjack, aren't I? Damn it. So we're on 55, 60, but we're going to blackjack and we're going to apply the drop. So bear with me while I go and line up the blackjack table. All right, so we're taking a slightly different tack now. We're going 55, 60, but we're in the drop zone, which means that the drop has to be, well, ideally what you're looking for is a fifth of the down. So we're down 60. So that's going to be 12. 55, 60. The drop is 12. That's a good start. So that's 18 we just won there. So then we're going to go 37, 40, I think, is the smart thing to do. Wouldn't it be nice if we got that? Uh-oh. 37, 40. So now we have to go 80. Damn it! And we can't. We can only go. Well, I'm going to accept that. Damn it. That's a total fucking disaster. Okay, so we're out of this one. What was that? That was 35, 40, 75, 77. Hang about. No, 75, 78. So we're at 155. And all I can do is bet 100. So I have to make this nasty choice to basically, because I'm not in a real casino, where I'd walk away and say, okay, so I'm going to go over to Caesars where they'll let me bet 300,000 or whatever, So I'm stuck with that. So I have to run away from here. Bear with me while I get a new shoe. And we're at 155, 100. That's all I can do. As I say, this is not actually real, but I'm stuck in the world of Sims. So 155, 100. That ain't going to work. Okay. This is going to take a long time with the max, but we will get there. 255, 100. It's so rare for this to happen. 255, 100. Damn it. Look at that, bust by one. 350, this is awful. We're kind of on a hiding to nothing here, really, because once you get to the max, you're fucked, Okay. I can't bet more than 100, even though I've got the money there. I don't think I can, anyway. No, I can. Okay. No, I think it's going to... No, see this? It's not going to let me bet it. See, this is the problem with SimWorld. It just gets unreal once you get to the top. So that's a clear, and I can only bet that. So we're on 255, 100 currently. But at least I can do double downs. Okay. 155. 55, 60. Oh, damn. Okay, 115, 100. 15, 25. Damn it. Look at that. Bust with 22. And we're out of the shit. Only just because we had to run away 4 times. So we're 365 ahead. No, we had to run away 1, 2, 3 times. So we're 65,000 up. And what I shouldn't have done, of course, is shut down the blackjack thing. So let me go and sort that out. Okay, this is far from being an ideal example of what I'm talking about. Obviously, you have to go deep from time to time. There's no escaping that. It's just how it is. I will run all this lot through Excel when I'm done with this because it's going to be quite educational, I think. I'm going to stop for just a moment to fill in the gag on here. Okay, what I'm going to call this, sort of to be on the safe side, to be as accurate and transparent as I possibly can be, is that, we gagged 52,375 down. We won 65,000 over at Blackjack, as you just saw. So that leaves us with 12,625 profit. And it's not 17 minutes, it's about 20 minutes because I had to keep stopping to reload Blackjack and switch over and blah, 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 blah. So that's how it turned out. Now, I'm not saying that this is the way you should play, because what you have to do is you have to have so much money behind you that you are basically immune to the kind of problems that I encountered this time, where I couldn't bet the necessary bet. I can't even remember now whether I would have won it or lost it. I think I won it. I'm not sure. But the Excel analysis will tell it all in gruesome detail. But I decided to press on with the 100,000 because otherwise I'm left with a huge hole, which I've got no way to get back, a huge down that I can't get out of unless I bet multiple $100,000 bets. And the sort of the common sense behind that is simply saying, okay, we are now so far away from expectation. The volatility level is so high, the variance is so ridiculous that there has to be an offset, a kind of a reset, if you like, a balance sometime soon. We don't know when, Normally what you do is you just keep pressing higher and you're digging deeper. And that's because you have a bankroll which is big enough to enable you to place the bets that you need to place. And of course, you have to have access to high roller territory where they will allow you to bet that kind of money. And, if you listen to Dana White, a guy who I think is about as full of BS as anybody I've ever come across, last thing I saw him claim on a video it's only just today, I think, was he beat Caesars out of 16.5 million. There's no way that Caesars would let that go without a high level of publicity. They would make such a fuss about that. MGM used to do it when Kerry Packer was alive. He would win 15 million or whatever, and they'd say, "Whoa, Australian billionaire, super whale, blah, 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 blah," and they'd send out press releases and make a big fuss and jump up and down and use that to attract other high rollers. What Dana White is asking us to believe is that he shook Caesars down for 16.5 million, and they didn't make any attempt to utilize that for promotional purposes. It's just not credible. But I think Mr. White, let's put things in perspective here. He's a very close friend of the president's, and he described him in another thing that I caught today as being, the most resilient person I have ever come across. There's a very critical word buried inside the word resilient, and that is L-I-E, lie. And this is Trump's primary weapon in his political career is lies. And Dana White is using exactly the same weapon, I believe, and I can't prove it, but I believe, simply based on the arithmetic of these games, he is using exactly the same weaponry to try and convince people, as Trump tries to convince his audience that he is the greatest ever, that he is, king of the hill, etc., etc., etc. So, there you have it. Anyway, I don't know what happens here. I don't think I've ever done a 2-line note before. So, we came out of that alive, and I'm grateful for that. And we need to just look at these two here so that I can transfer them over to the file. Not happy to walk away from Baccarat, a loser, but sometimes you have no choice in these matters. And it's all a question of just treating this whole thing as a business proposition. That's all it's about. If you treat these games as fun, excitement, entertainment, relaxation, anything other than cold, hard business, then you're going to get into big, 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 big trouble. It's as simple as that. So we close this one. We go and have a look at the other one, which was look at that. Hardly did anything. Hardly bothered. Yeah, very, very, very nasty. Thanks a lot, Baccarat Win Pro. Although, on the other hand, thank you very much for proving once again that I have no control over what comes out of your shoes. I don't pick the shoes. I don't know what's coming. I have no way of controlling anything. And the Baccarat Win Pro platform, in fact, controls me because they record every spit and cough. Anyway, I'm gone for a bit, and Excel will be coming up soon. Okay, so first of all, an apology from me for letting this nasty experience kind of like get buried in the archive. It dates back to the 2nd of January. I've referred to it several times in recent Excel updates in particular. I do try to keep everything current, and this is a failure on my part, which, well, I had my conscience pricked because Vegas Matt is trying to shut me down with stupid copyright claims against me. And of course, copyright strikes, if you get 3 of those, YouTube, which has a very, very odd way of operating, will take you off, shut you down, remove you. And then, of course, human beings take over from the bots, common sense prevails, and boom, you're back up again. But it's a bloody nuisance, and I'm disgusted with Vegas Matt and his team, because they know bloody well that they're conning the public, and the pretense that his gambling is as real as it gets is absolute BS, because he couldn't care whether he wins or loses at slots and table games and so on, because he's making so much damn money from Google from providing content. And of course, he's got his contracts with FanDuel and God, I don't know. I've long since lost track, and frankly, I don't care. But the guy is pulling wool over the eyes of his 1.5 million subscribers, pretending that he's a real gambler, and he's not. He's an entertainer. He's a performer. And above all, he's a shill. He's a front man. He's in business to promote gambling and to encourage people to gamble as stupidly as he does, with absolutely no money management strategy, no recognition of past losses, no care or concern about trying to keep things under control and to keep them sensible and rational. And it's certainly true that most gamblers are idiots. And there is no doubt that the vast majority of his audience of 1.5 million subscribers are mostly fools, But then, of course, it has to be said, in fairness, and this includes me, anybody who gambles at all has got to be a few screws loose, because it's just crazy to try and attack, to challenge these games without an enormous amount of money behind you and a plan. And the irony is that Vegas Matt in particular is a guy who has millions behind him, but he doesn't want to show you how to win. That would be ridiculous. The casinos would hate him for him. They'd shut him down, and he'd be out of his spotlight. He'd lose his stage. The red carpet would be rolled up, and he wouldn't have a show to put on. So, don't be fooled by Vegas Matt. He's not presenting you with the truth. He's putting on a show, and he's trying to reel you in to encourage you to think that gambling is glamorous and a harmless entertainment that's worth the money that you leave behind on the tables when you have to go home and tell the missus or your kids or whatever that you just blew 15, 20 grand, 100 grand, whatever, in the casinos in Las Vegas because you thought maybe you had a chance. Anyway, this was crap. As I say, it dates back to the 2nd of January. And 2060-102. That's funny. Yes, of course. Oh, yeah, this thing dates American style, and it doesn't work for me because I'm in the UK, and we have a very common sense thing where we say, okay, the first number is the smallest, which is the day, and then the next number is the next smallest, which is the month, and then the third number in a date is the big one, which is the year. But Americans, of course, are very good at sort of saying, "Oh, screw that! We don't like that because we want to be different." So they turn it all around, and then some parts of the world, and this sim is generated Singapore and the Caribbean, or the Caribbean, as you say in America. So they follow the American dating thing. So it's actually the 2nd of January, but no, never mind. Anywho, it was shit. And when you get into a situation like this where you can't bet anymore without bumping up against the table limit, then you have to switch to another game where you can do what's needed in order to turn around and recover. Sorry about my throat problems, but it obviously gets worse when I get a little bit agitated. And this business of Vegas Matt trying to shut me down, I mean, I'm just the first hint I got was I don't know, about 6 months ago, and that went away, and now they're dragging out a couple of more copyright strikes, and it's so bloody pathetic. It's dreadful. Anyway, I promised an Excel analysis of what happened here, and there really isn't any point in making it a huge analysis because there just weren't enough bets. So what I'm going to do is go up to where the session turned around, pull this to one side, and this is basically what happened. Once we got over to blackjack, we had 6 wins and 5 losses. And you can see what happened here. We came out with 65,000 as our profit, which was 7.9% of total action, about 821,000. And it was hairy. There's no doubt about that. It was horrible. But it's all in the video that if you're very brave, you will have sat through and thought to yourself, well, this is ridiculous. I could never do that. But this is exactly the message that I'm trying to get across. You can't beat these games if you're a sort of Joe Public type with, and there's nothing wrong with being that, by the way, but somebody who doesn't have hundreds of thousands that they can put up if need be. And anyway, that session there is obviously predated the last few that I've done. I mean, what have I done since then? We go all the way up to here's the 65,000 one. So I've done several shoes since then. And as you can see, when we come down to the bottom, blackjack action was 4.4 million. No, baccarat action, sorry, 4.4 million. Blackjack, 2.5 million. And we're currently running at an all action, that's both games, win to date of 7.8%. And the player advantage for baccarat only is 8.1%. So you can see the similarity between the two games, because what the game is doesn't matter, completely meaningless. What counts is hitting those patterns properly. You don't know in advance what's going to win and what's going to lose, but what you're trying to do all the time is to make sure that you have an optimal bet out on the table when things are potentially going in your favor. I mean, every single bet that you place faces a negative expectation. I think we all understand that. But what you're trying to do is to just go with the flow, if you like, So the shoes to date goes all the way, like I told you, I've done many since that nasty one, the last nasty one. There have been 3 switches over to blackjack from baccarat in 230 shoes. So that's not a hell of a lot, is it? Sorry, just managed to stave off a little choke there. Least of my problems. Yeah, and Vegas Matt's silly attack on me is not going to be a problem in the long term, but it's just a bloody nuisance in the short term, and he should be ashamed of himself. But there we go. So, just to quickly point out, overall, we're sort of like we're back on track. We're doing great. We're 8.1% ahead in those 230 shoes, including the ones where we had to sort of switch over to blackjack, and that's where the difference comes in. Where you see a blackjack, we won 317,500. At baccarat, we won 356,200. It's taken a hell of a lot longer at baccarat than at blackjack, but that's how it goes. This is how you have to play. You have to deal with this as a business. You have to have a ton of money behind you. You've got to have a betting strategy, a money management methodology, if you prefer, that works, that you believe in, and that you can back to the hilt. And remember, I mean, you just saw the video for that horrible session, and I was stuck because I hit the 100,000 and I couldn't go any higher, which of course is a problem with Sims, because I have to follow the rules of the Sims. If I were Dana White, and I felt like it, I'd sort of say, oh, okay, well, I've fallen behind here, so now I'm going to go to Caesars where they'll let me bet 500,000 if necessary, and off you go. And you just recover your money and then you start over again. And of course, what these professional losers do all the time is they don't pay any attention to prior losses. So they've got no recovery plan. They don't care about that. They're going to get their money back from Google, so it doesn't matter. All that matters is getting more subscribers, creating more content, and making it as exciting as possible so that people who actually get a kick out of vicarious gambling, and I'm mystified by those people, but that's fine. There's lots of things I don't understand. I don't understand why people will go and watch golf. I do understand watching snooker, but that's a whole different thing. But anyway, as usual, I digress. But all I'm trying to say to you is small-minded, tiny-minded, spiteful Vegas Matt is trying to shut me down, and maybe I'll get this out before he succeeds. And I will talk to you later.